is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and we are proudly sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield, who continue their brilliant support for this channel. Thank you to them. If you are a growing business and want to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. I love that new intro as well. Thank you to everybody that's sent you kind comments on, and welcome to this very festive edition of the warm-up on the Blades Ramble. I know I said I wasn't going to do a match preview in long form, but I didn't get a chance to do a match reaction last time after what was not the easiest of watches against Chelsea, if I'm honest. I think it was a bit of a reality check, I think is the way that I described it on Twitter. Chris Wilder's got a big job on his hands. I think the Chelsea game exposed that. I think we were good in the first half. I think we contained them as best we could. And then we haven't got the squad depth as we know, but I think there's also still stuff to work on in terms of the mentality and sticking to the game plan, like Wilder's been talking about. He says it's very still a young group. What he means by that, I think, is not necessarily in age. It's Premier League experience he's talking about. So big job for Wilder. Back down to earth with a bit of a bump, and it don't get any easier this weekend. But before we get to that, let's address the elephant in the room.
Oh, Dozy, my boozy.
What is that sound?
Oh, Dozy, my boozy. Oh, Dozy, my boozy.
So, yes, that was me. I think back in April time. Thank you to Scott, one of our ramblers, for clipping that and casting it to the internet. But anyway.
All right, okay. Fair enough. Oh, let's all have a laugh at the Iron Partridge, the expensive Iron Partridge. Yeah, very good. Whose idea was it? Yours, I suppose.
The one thing about putting yourself out there on YouTube is you've got to be accountable for the things that you say and you do. It's because it's all there. And as I've said before, I think a lot of the success of our channel and is the authenticity of it. So I'm not going to hide away from anything that has happened previously. For those of you that are new here, and a lot of you may well be, because at that time I had 700 subscribers and I was contacted by Dozy Mabuse, as was in good Nick from Sheffield United Way, and I thought it were a joke at the time, and invited out for a drink in Sheffield, which is mad to say. We went for a drink. He paid, went for a couple of drinks with Dozy Mabuse and his good friend Jay, who has been fantastic with us all the way through. And he told us about his plans for Sheffield United. Now, I'm not daft. I know why people want to speak to us about it. I was doing videos about him at the time and delving into, well, this is what people have reported and this is what people are saying he is, and he might be a little bit dodgy. But, you know, let's look on the positives, because if he isn't, it's a potential really good. And I was very open-minded. And then after I'd met with Dozy, I take people as I find them, and I became very excited by it. And obviously it's over then to the EFL to do their due diligence. And if there's anything wrong with their findings, I'll be proven wrong, and it'll be a missed opportunity. But who am I to know any better? Because I'm a layman. I'm not a businessman. Fast forward to now, and he's been charged with fraudulent activity and falsifying documents. And it turns out, like a lot of people said early doors, that it doesn't appear at this stage that Dozy Mabuse was the real deal. Hands up. Hands up. You've got to own these things, haven't you? You've got to own these things. Ultimately, I got caught up in the excitement of wanting what's best for our club. Prince Abdullah at the time had said, like he says now, that he couldn't take the club much further financially. And this was potentially an opportunity for somebody to come in and do that. And Dozy got me, like I think he got a few of us. And it looks like Sheffield United are better off for not having him involved in the football club, as they were with Henry Maurice, who is also in prison currently for wire fraud, who is also looking to take over the club at one stage. So it begs the question, what are we doing in terms of investment? Who are these people that we're selling to? Who is the man with all the answers, you may be asking? Prince Abdullah is the man with all the answers. And that is a very tidy segue into what I've got coming up next week. Honestly, being on YouTube, and I've said this before, but anybody that's thinking about doing it, shout out to Claire, who's just Bulgarian Blade, just launched her own YouTube channel. Go and support her. And any more of you out there that wants to jump onto this platform, I cannot thank people enough for the opportunities it's afforded me, for the support that I've got from you guys, and particularly our Ramblers who contribute to the channel and help us grow, and then hopefully feel like they're part of our community, which we bring together. But the opportunity. Yesterday, as I record this, I was invited onto Blades Heaven by Radio Sheffield. I've listened to Football Heaven since I were 5 or 6 year old. Praise the grumble coming back from matches. My dad was the first one to put me onto it, and I put on Twitter again last night. It's a bit of a bucket list thing for me, that, in terms of, I was a kid listening to that program and now I'm on it. I've been invited onto it purely because I sit at my kitchen table and give you an opinion on Sheffield United, and I get things wrong all the time, like Dozy. Dozy, I was clearly wrong about, and you've got to hold your hands up and be accountable for that. I'm going to be wrong about certain things. I set myself a target of 5K before Christmas Day. That's 5,000 subscribers. And at the time, the trajectory of the channel was on course to do that. But that was very ambitious, and it put a lot of pressure on myself to get to that target. And as soon as we stopped sort of pushing for that, things became a lot more enjoyable. So I'm learning all the time. I also said Jack Robinson was terrible, and I would have probably not offered him a contract in the summer. That is just one of many examples of my opinions on players who aren't always right. I get some right as well. I think Chris Wilder is absolutely unbelievable. I think it should have happened sooner. I think Cameron Archer will still be some player, and I hope it's for us. But it's only going to be for us if we survive in the Premier League. But I digress. The question of investment in the club is one of many that I am fortunate enough to get a chance to ask Prince Abdullah himself, because the biggest door yet to open for this channel is the fact that Prince Abdullah has agreed to come on the Ramble and answer questions from our Ramblers. And we've collated a lot of those. And if there's any still that the Ramblers want to submit them, please feel free to do so. But I'm very excited for asking him questions on everything to do with the club. And it'll be about finances. It'll be about transfers. It'll be about Chris Wilder, Illiman, Sander, improvements to the ground, anything. Where's the money gone? All the questions that people want answering, I will put to him. Now, I know from speaking to Nick, who's had Prince Abdullah on his channel a couple of times before, great watchers. And if you haven't seen him already, you will have done, because everybody has. But if you haven't, and you want to just get ready for ours, go back and watch that. Because he answers a lot of questions that I don't need to touch on because they've already been answered. But he has rightly warned me that I cannot win here with some people. But that's a lesson that I've already learned, to be fair. Some people will think I'm being too soft. Some people will think I'm not asking the right questions. I will ask him any questions that our Ramblers want answering. So thank you to Prince Abdullah for agreeing to come on. We'll be sitting down just after Christmas, and I'll be chopping that up as quickly as possible and getting it out there to everybody, Ramblers first. So I'm hoping to God, and it was already a ridiculously important game on Boxing Day, Luton Town at home. But I want us to get a result that extra 10% now. Not that I didn't want it anymore in the first place, but if you think I'm a bad loser when I come on here and I rant and rave about how poor we've been or decisions that should have gone our way, whatever it might be, when we're all upset about it, Prince Abdullah is miserable when we lose. Andy the Blade was saying to me, you don't want us to, what if we get beat at Luton? He'll be saying he can't come on. Prince Abdullah will come on. He'll keep his commitment. I've no doubt about it. But it may well change the tone of the interview. So, my God, fingers crossed for Luton on Boxing Day, because what I don't want is a miserable down in the dumps Prince Abdullah giving me one-word answers. I want a jovial Prince Abdullah being engaging and back and forth in conversation. So we shall see. It may be a very tough afternoon for me if we don't get the result at Luton, but absolutely buzzing about the opportunity. So yeah, join us for that. And if you're not already subscribed, please make sure you do so you don't miss it. Tap the bell so you'll get a notification as and when it's ready. And thank you again for everybody's support. On to Villa then. This for me could be the toughest game of the season so far. And that's having sat through the entirety of an 8-0 to Newcastle. It's not going to be anywhere near 8-0. But what I'm saying is, in terms of the form going into the game. Now, I haven't checked the stats, but I'll be amazed if Villa aren't the form team at the moment. They seem to be a runaway train, unstoppable. People talking about them potentially challenging for the league title because they're going so well. Momentum is everything in football, confidence, and they have got it in abundance. It is going to be ridiculously tough. And to even think we can scrape a point at Villa Park, I think he's optimistic. But I love to be optimistic. And listen, when we've got Chris Wilder in the dugout, I will back us to go anywhere and give anybody a game. So first question, I'm going to ask you, what's your team? So this is my team. I think we go Wes in goal. I'm going to mix it up a little bit in defence because I think Chelsea was a bit of a dip in individual performances. I'm bringing Georgie Baldock back in. Our leader, Jack Robinson's returning to the side as well. So my back four, which has been a wilder trait so far, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him go to another back 3/5, but I think he'll go George Baldock, Anel Ahmedhodzic, Jack Robinson and Austin Trusty as our back line, and that looks very solid to me. Unfortunate for Jayden Bogle, but when you've got competition like George Baldock pushing you, it's always going to be a really tight battle between the two of them, and Jayden will have to form really well to get in this side of a George Baldock. I'm sticking with Wilder's three in midfield. That's Gus Hamer, Vinny Souza and Andre Brooks. All three have looked very good under Wilder. I think Brooks probably had his, I hate to say it in this, least impressive performance against Chelsea, I would say. Started to look a little bit leggy, but I think we continue that momentum with him in the side, particularly as we're struggling for options, really, in terms of quality and balance as well. So I think that three comes back into the side. It certainly does in my team. I don't think Wilder will do this, but in my team, I'm playing Anis Slimani on the left, James McAtee on the right, and both being able to cut inside. Slimani maybe slightly more tucked in. Behind Cameron Archer up front, who I think is undoubtedly our best finisher. I think he'll probably go Archer out on the left, McBurney up top, maybe Asula. But I think Archer is the one that we've got to... Archer's a striker for me. And I think he's our best goal threat. And we should be looking to utilise him wherever we can at the furthest point of the pitch, which we've said before. So that is my team. Let me know your team down below. And the second thing we're going to ask, as always, what's your score prediction? I understand that... Listen, I'm probably saying this with my heart rather than my head, but I think we can go and upset things a little bit. And I definitely got ahead of myself with Chelsea saying that we'd go there and nick a cheeky 1-0. To back the boys, don't I? I have to back the boys. And I think, although I think this is a stretch, I'm going for a 1-1, and I'll be very happy with that at Villa Park. Let me know what you think. Do you think we can go there and get a point? Fingers crossed. Well, I'll have everything crossed. And this time, you can watch the game with me because I'm going to be trying, and this is purely going to be on a trial basis. I may have, if we're 3-0 down at half time, I may have launched the laptop out the window. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be doing my first watch along on Friday. I'm not going to Villa away. The wife is out. I've got the girls. They are going to be upstairs in bed for kickoff. So I'd be watching the game on my own at home anyway. So I'm going to watch it with you guys, if you want to watch it with me, that is. So it's really just testing the waters to see how the setup works. We might have to move slightly because I can't particularly see the TV very well here. But we're just going to trial a few things, see how it goes. And if you want to join us for a watch along, then we'll be here on Friday night to watch the Blades visit Aston Villa. Come and join us, give us your support, and hopefully we can get a decent result. As we've said before, if you're not already... and you do like what we do on the Ramble, please do show us that support by subscribing. You can go that extra step further by supporting us on Patreon if you wish. Get access to all sorts of early access content, private WhatsApp groups, that sort of thing. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blades!
Ramble on!